What's this, a welcoming committee?
Looks like another robbery, Mr. Whitney.
What's that?
I found the maid upstairs in your bedroom earlier today. She was acting rather suspiciously.
I didn't even know we had a new maid.
I hired her.
Go on, Spencer.
Well, as I said, she had kind of a guilty look on her face. And just now I caught her trying to leave. She said she wanted to take a walk. That's when I decided to take a look into her purse.
And?
I found this.
It's my watch.
There must be an explanation for this.
There is, if you just let me tell you.
For heaven's sake, let the poor girl speak.
I did have the watch, but I wasn't stealing it. I was going to get it fixed.
Oh, well, that's a new one. And what made you think that it needed to be fixed, whatever your name is?
Her name is Bobbie. She was a waitress at Sid's Tavern.
Oh, yeah, I thought she looked familiar.
Listen, I can explain this. I was upstairs making the bed, and then I went over and I started dusting the dresser, and I saw the watch. I picked it up. I was looking at it. I dropped it.
Oh, yeah, well, I guess burglary does make one nervous.
I just wanted to look at it. I've never seen a watch like that up close. Anyway, when I picked it up, I noticed the crystal's broken.
She's right, it is.
And the tune doesn't play.
All I wanted to do was to find somebody who could fix it before you found out. That's all it was, I swear.
Evening, Mike. Hello, Kelly. Looks like you're getting ready to watch a movie on TV, huh?
No. I thought I'd have a visit with my wife. Nancy's going to be on the air in about 15 minutes, interviewing that radio talk show host.
Oh, right, Larry King. Glad I got home early.
Well, you could have watched it at Valerie's place.
Yeah, I could have, but dinner with Valerie kind of ended on a negative note. No, it wasn't her fault, it was mine. I just wasn't able to avoid mentioning a certain subject.
Jim Dietrichson?
Yeah. Can you believe that guy actually has the nerve to open up a business here in Monticello? He's taken over Gavin Wiley's old dance studio and to turn it into some sort of a phony acting school.
Why do you assume it's phony?
Mike, as DA, you've taught me a very valuable lesson. What you see is not always what you get. And that's the way I feel about Jim Dietrichson.
Sounds as if you haven't accepted that he's the man he says he is.
You're right, I haven't.
Even though he passed our test with flying colors?
Yeah, he may have passed the test with flying colors, but I think it was a lucky guess.
Is that what you told Valerie at dinner?
That's what I told her, and that's why she got upset.
Well, you have different points of view. She'd like to believe he's genuine. You'd like to believe he's a fake.
Yeah, I would. Because he's a fake, that means Valerie will shut him right out of her life. Now, tell me something. Can you blame me for feeling that way?
No, I can't. You know what they say about love and war. Speaking of war, didn't you tell me that Dietrichson is a Marine?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's his story anyway. He was wounded in Vietnam, he was captured by the Viet Cong, you know, big war hero and everything that goes with it.
You know, there's another test for authenticity we could try.
What kind of test?
Military records aren't secrets, and I've got a couple of friends who could expedite things. I'll see what I can do about that tomorrow.
Well, you could just ignore me. I'll just sit in the corner and watch.
Oh, no, I think you got to take part, Cliff. I mean, all we're going to be doing today is just getting to know each other and talking about our acting ambitions.
But I don't have any acting ambitions. I'm a lawyer.
Well, Cliff, you said yourself a lawyer is a lot like an actor.
Yeah, I know, but I say a lot of dumb things.
No, there's some truth in that. I mean, I had to know. I found out that when I was excited about acting, it wasn't in acting classes, it was in law school.
Yeah? You're a lawyer?
Yeah, I was going to be. Then after the third year in law school, I dropped everything and joined the Marines.
Oh, why'd you do that?
Well, things were getting kind of heavy. It had to do with a girlfriend of mine. But, well, that's my history. I'm more interested in yours.
Well, I I was raised by royalty, and after a very difficult childhood, at the age of 6, a band of gypsies came and captured me. They sent me off to law school.
Cliff, aren't you handling the Gavin Wiley case?
Yeah, I am.
This was his dance studio, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I used to take classes with him right here. See, that's why I asked him to class today. I thought maybe we could give him some help.
What kind of help?
Well, I thought maybe he could act out his summation to the jury, you know, and we could tell him what's good and what's bad about it. I think that's a terrific idea.
No, that's great. In fact, we could just be the jurors, you know. We could pretend that we're in the minds and the bodies of the jurors, and then we'll help you out that way.
Well,
Sounds like a great idea. Let's do it.
All right. Yeah, do it.
okay. But I know this may not be what I'm going to say finally, you know. Something may happen in the courtroom and change my mind.
Just pretend that this is your summation today, and then go ahead with it.
Okay. I don't want to do this. Come on. All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Oh. Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, there are a few questions you're going to have to answer about Gunther Wagner before you decide on the fate of Gavin Wiley. First of all, did Gunther Wagner deserve to die? Well, you've heard testimony, not refuted by the prosecution, that Gunther Wagner was a brutal, vicious, amoral, antisocial, even criminal person. That's right, criminal. He committed an act of violence against the defendant, Gavin Wiley, ending a promising dancing career. He more than once assaulted a helpless young woman, Jody Travers, and had Miss Travers not escaped, he would have committed the crime of rape. When Gavin Wiley confronted Gunther Wagner concerning this attempted rape, Gunther Wagner decided to commit another crime. He decided to make good his threat against Gavin Wiley, a threat so real that it forced the defendant to maintain a loaded weapon on the premises against his will. A threat to break and mangle the leg that he had already rendered useless. A threat that Gunther Wagner was willing to carry out, even though Gavin Wiley was carrying a loaded pistol. A pistol like this, which I now place in your hands. Gunther Wagner gave Gavin Wiley no choice but to raise that gun and fire it. Did Gunther Wagner deserve to die? We, the defense and the defendant, say no. That's right, no. No one deserves to die, just as no brutality can be excused. No. The question that you have to answer is, what would you have done in this situation? What would you have done? Or you? Gavin Wiley didn't want Gunther Wagner to die, just as you wouldn't have. Revenge wasn't his motive, just as it wouldn't have been yours. Anger was not what motivated him to pull that trigger, just as it wouldn't have done you. But he pulled that trigger out of a basic human instinct of self-preservation. What would you have done? What would you have done if this vicious, brutal giant were approaching you? Contemptuous of your small stature, contemptuous of your lack of will, contemptuous even with a loaded gun in your hand, approaching you, threatening you, his intentions all too clear. Thank you for answering the question.
Not guilty.
Not guilty, not guilty.
Not guilty. Congratulations. I think you've won a case.
Yeah. There's just one trouble with it.
What?
My client says it didn't happen that way.
Struggled with Gunther.
But I did.
Oh, Gavin.
Jody, it's the way it happened, I swear.
But don't you see? If you keep saying that Gunther was the one that pulled the trigger...
He was. I never even touched the trigger.
You have to make the story agree with the facts.
You don't believe me. You don't believe me. You think I'm lying.
It's not a question of what I believe. It's what the jury will believe. And they'll think you're lying if you say you struggled Gunther. That doesn't sound true anymore.
That's right, Gavin. I did the autopsy, Gavin. It proved the medical examiner's statement. There's conclusive proof that Gunther was shot from a distance.
There can't be.
You shot that gun from a distance, Gavin. There's no doubt of it.
Oh, my God. Miles, what can I do?
Well, that's up to you. But why stick with what you claim is the truth when it sounds like a lie?
Sooner than I thought you'd be here. We wanted to get home in time for Nancy's interview.
How'd it go tonight, Jody? My car came over, didn't it?
Yeah, he was here. Went all right. He was really very nice.
We promised you there'd be no rubber hoses. It didn't upset you too much, did it?
No, not at all. He was really very thoughtful. I guess the problem was I didn't know what to say.
Well, Mike just wanted to find a way the two of you could help each other. Most importantly, find a way to help Gavin.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid I didn't do him any good.
Why? What did he want to know?
Well, mostly he wanted to know how I felt about Gavin's story of the shooting, whether I believed him or not. And of course I said I did.
Well, of course you do. And we all want to, honey. It's just if the facts...
Look, it's almost time for Nancy's television program. Shouldn't we turn on the set?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Miles, I almost forgot. There was a phone call for you while you were out.
No, I hope it wasn't the hospital or there goes Nancy's program.
No, it wasn't. It was a woman. She left this number for you to call.
Wait a minute. Let me guess. Her name is, Jinx Avery, right?
All right, no headaches, no dizziness, no other symptoms?
No, I feel just great. In fact, I feel so good, I think the whole thing has disappeared, and I'll probably live till I'm 100.
Well, that might very well be true. Look, the best way to find out is pay me a visit at my office. Let me take a look at you. As a matter of fact, a better idea would be to set up a regular schedule of appointments.
You know, I think you're right.
Well, that's great. Why don't you call my nurse tomorrow and set up an appointment, huh?
Better yet, why don't I come in tomorrow myself? First thing?
All right.
Great. I'll see you then, Doctor.
Jinx, wait a minute.
Yes?
Well, there's something I wanted to ask you about that bracelet of yours.
Don't worry, Doctor. I'm not going to use it for any more tricks on you or the chief of police. He was so mad when he finally found out that I'd bought it.
Yes, well, that was my question. The first time I saw you, you indicated you weren't exactly rolling in money.
That's the truth.
Uh-huh. And yet you go out and you buy a bracelet worth over $5,000?
Doctor, nobody uses cash anymore. What's so amazing about that?
What?
I charged it, of course. I have credit cards. In fact, my credit is pretty good.
I see. Now, look, it's still a great deal of money.
Doctor, don't worry. The bill will come in a month or two, and, well, they can just collect it from my estate then. Goodbye.
Jinx,
I'll see you tomorrow.
Be on just about now?
It'll be great to see Nancy on television again.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Late-night radio programs in America. And one of the most successful people in that field is Larry King, who conducts interviews of some of the most fascinating people in the world. In the first part of his program, in the wee hours of the morning, he interviews show business celebrities, prominent politicians, sports figures, authors, musicians, everyone who's worth talking to. And in the second part of his program, in the pre-dawn hours, Larry King gives America a chance to do the talking. He accepts phone calls from listeners on any subject. And he accepts calls from all over the country. Well, tonight, I have the opportunity to talk to Larry King myself. Good evening, Mr. King.
Good evening, Miss Carr, and thanks for having me on your show.
This is a little early for you to be working, isn't it?
Well, actually, I started work several hours ago getting ready for the celebrity guest who's going to be on with me on the radio tonight. Your husband's a lawyer, isn't he?
Yes, that's right, he is.
Well, every lawyer says that the way to win a case is to be prepared before you go into court.
Just as you prepare before you interview your guests.
That's right. Listen, Mrs. Carr, do you mind if I get out of this little box? It's very cramped.
Yes, I'm glad you did.
That's better. It's good to be on television for a change.
Well, Mr. King, I'm delighted to be able to give your listeners a chance to be your viewers for a change.
There's one difference, though. I'm used to your seat. I'm used to asking questions. This time I'm the interviewee. It's kind of funny being on the spot.
Oh, you would never be on a spot, I'm sure.
Just where I'd like to get Jim Dietrichson.
Are there any particular
on the
subjects that you find would come
You've got no right to make these arbitrary decisions. This is my house, you know.
You spend half the time in this house that I do. Why shouldn't I be the one to make the domestic decisions?
Geraldine, you've hired domestics before. Now, don't you think that it's ridiculous?
Leave me out of it. What I want to know is, am I the mistress of this house, or am I just your mistress?
I think I'll go upstairs.
No, Geraldine, tell him. I'm the one who spends all the time here. I'm the one that should make the decision.
A fine decision you made. You hired a thief.
You're being grossly unfair. I think the girl's story was very plausible.
Of course she was telling the truth. The watch was broken.
Yeah, in her haste to steal it.
Now, that's nonsense. If the girl was going to rob you, would she do it on her very first day here? And would she choose one small item?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you're right. It certainly wasn't ordinary robbery.
There was no robbery. The only one that's being robbed around here is me of my good maid.
All right, all right. You don't have to fire her.
Well, I'll go and get her so you can tell her so.
Come on. Stop being angry with me.
I can't.
You are the mistress of the house, you know.
Am I?
Of course, but I'd still like to think of you as being my mistress.
You're making such a fuss over that watch, I wish I hadn't given it to you.
Oh, come on.
Now, I've told Bobbie the good news.
I'm really very sorry, Mr. Whitney. I was very stupid.
Yeah, all right, Bobbie. Just be more careful in the future when you're dusting.
Yes, sir, I will.
Go wash your face, Bobbie. You look a mess.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
I'm gonna go upstairs and shower and change. I feel like a wreck. Oh, what is this new maid's last name?
Do you want to know something? I never asked her.
Pardon me, Miss Whitney. I just wanted to ask if there was any further need of the car this evening.
No, Spencer, I don't think we shall be going out.
Very good, ma'am.
Oh, Spencer,
Yes, Mrs. Whitney?
I just wanted you to know that Mr. Whitney and I don't think that Bobbie was really doing any harm. We don't think that she was really trying to steal the watch.
I hope that's true, Mrs. Whitney.
I know you were suspicious and you had a right to be. God knows that this house has been a magnet for burglars lately, but we do think that she was going to have the watch repaired.
Yes, ma'am. I suppose that could be the case. Only it seems a rather strange hour to find a jeweler.
I guess maybe she was just a little confused. Looks like I'm gonna have to get the watch repaired now. I guess maybe I can go to the same place where Sky bought this.
Why have I been so stupid? Why do I keep this damn thing around? I should just get rid of it once and for all. Yeah, and this one too. I should dump them both in the river. Out of the sight of prying eyes and clumsy servants. That maid, Bobbie. What was there about her that was so familiar? Was it just because I had seen her in that restaurant? Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. She's the one who helped Gavin Wiley escape.